Hi there. Well, I can't believe we're here again. Black Lives Matter. Was it only a few months ago this was used as a shiny object everyone rushed to distract us from Epstein or something similar? People obviously weren't listening to the demands China should be investigated to find out where the virus came from, so that little distraction failed, and so here we are again. Now, I don't fall for this rhetoric because I can see it for what it is, a shiny thing distraction. I'm one of those that believes all lives matter. Now, let me explain to you why. It's not about the colour of a skin, it's about distraction from the real problem. What if I said there was a real problem embedded in authority and police institutions that has recently culminated in a heinous act which has taken another person's life? Would you agree, even though he may have been guilty or innocent, his treatment was uncalled for an unarmed citizen, given the many weapons and equipment available to subdue on a policeman's belt? What if I then called upon all citizens of every creed and following to demand change to the way police are trained and treat citizens, and how they are to show utmost respect and honour for all people in their normal encounters, as is their duty, and to treat every normal interaction with the public with civil discourse and understanding? What if I then demanded that officers should become personally liable for any interactions they undertake? That might make them think twice on how they treat fellow human beings. At the moment, of course, the taxpayer pays for their wages and equipment, the courts they may be sent to, and if police are found to be liable for harm, the taxpayer in most cases pays again to compensate the person harmed. Well, I for one want more for my money. Do you not maybe think that that might be a more logical takeaway from the recent actions? There is a rot from the top down in society. Authority oppresses everyone. Admittedly, some are more affected than others, but everyone is affected. Instead of arguments based on skin, race, colour, age or sex, everyone should be demanding authority treat them with respect and freedoms as a first priority. I mean, who's ultimately paying for all this? We're all human beings, not corporations or beings holding a higher power than others. We need a society where ethics and values rule. Man-made laws created by politicians mostly take away large amounts of money from individuals where no harm is done, and that money mostly only benefits the system that created them. Everyone must become accountable for their actions individually again. That means the politician for his lies, the policeman for his interactions, the corporation head for the pollution. They must not be allowed to hide behind a corporate name or political office. It's not the purchaser or taxpayer's responsibility to pay for or dispose of another person's inability to act responsibly, as we are pointed at by so-called climate activists. And yet we allow ourselves to pay for disposal of packaging when no corporation, it seems, wants to make packaging biodegradable. We pay for authority, the laws they create, the breaking of those laws, and every interaction with law and its enforcers, including jails. People, when becoming understanding of this, or any other truth, are given the latest buzz phrase to chant that is created to persecute a group other than their own, rather than fix issues that can only plainly be fixed from the top. Someone shouts Black Lives Matter, or male privilege, or white privilege, or LGBTQ something something, or climate change deniers. It's all about boxing it up and rolling out the old divide and conquer rhetoric to make civilian groups point at each other with a blaming finger while the real problem is left to fester until the next time it occurs. And it will occur again, because it's never fixed. In fact, this is a distraction within a distraction. From the people beginning to ask what's going on in their lives from a seemingly non-devastating virus, now not only are people distracted from questions like, what's happening to flatten the curve? Why has authority closed my business? And that other great classic, where did my job go? But now they're wondering why their car's burning, and why a rock has just been thrown through their now non-existent franchise window. People have been paid to stay off work and therefore given more time to think about demonstrating, which in turn is where authority would like people to write to enable them to pass new laws to restrict people more. And they haven't even released the second wave yet. Now, without the sanctioned ability to protest in the streets, I'm sure all sorts of laws are being passed to the detriment of the taxpayer, so it's a win-win for the powers that be. And all the while, authority is really the boy who cried wolf, all over again. The terrorists are coming, the terrorists are coming. Or the sea levels are rising, the sea levels are rising, is now, the pandemic is coming, the pandemic is coming. And I think the people are slowly starting to wake up to the fact the world is suddenly getting a lot smaller, with no substantial proof to the shouting around them. Of course, if this was a modern reimagining of that famous fairy tale, the boy would now have his mates to call in if he's ever questioned. Now he's grown up a little bit, and long ago talked the villagers into paying a little from each of them to keep the wolves at bay. He's been able to buy up the local papers, and even hire some wolf catchers to protect the citizens. They really don't do much but keep the people in line, though. Now there are pictures and stories in the media about wolves caught, or prevented from attacking someone, along with stories of the hero police who patrol and keep the wolves at bay. There are medical teams on standby just in case anyone's injured, and friends he can send the villagers money to make sure their businesses stay open during this troublesome time, to keep the new normal just a little like the old normal. He'll make sure the big ones stay open, but it's best if the little ones close, just for now. And if the questions still come, it's best to create a diversion and show that throughout the media to get people's minds off the subject at hand. Maybe the huntsman has been questioning the whole thing as he's been out and not staying home. He hasn't seen any wolves. Perhaps they should write a story about the huntsman being responsible for an uptick in wolf attacks as he's going out and leaving parts of his kills lying in the woods. Perhaps anyone going to the doctor with a cut or scratch should be put down as a potential wolf attack. And soon the villagers are at each other's throats again. Something about not being allowed out to collect firewood. That's soon squashed by the police, though. And the boy giggles to himself. There's nothing out there. But he's made them believe they're surrounded by wolves. He's got them hiding in their homes, repeating stories of wolves attacking and facts about wolves from the news to others who may or may not have heard already. Soon he'll have them under a curfew and issued with trackers, and all because they believe a lie. Of course, if push comes to shove, he might need to bring in a couple of actual wolves, but he doesn't want that just now in case him or someone he knows gets hurt. But maybe he could make use of those bunkers he'd built a while back and ride out the attacks. Well, he'll wait and see how much opposition he gets. It's a good one for the back burner if his position is ever truly threatened. Well, there you go. That's a more up-to-date retelling of The Wolf Boy, eh? Maybe someone will extract a meaning from that and make them think about things a little differently, but then again, maybe they'll just believe a different coloured skin makes them more or others less oppressed than they are. Perhaps the idea that oppression is just oppression, whether it's happening to you or someone in another box, and all traces should be wiped out from the top down, is not the real issue to them. Maybe, when the boot is on all faces equally, will people realise that demanding equality meant a completely different thing to authority? Or maybe they'll just complain the boot feels harder on their face. Not very different to the argument now, when you really think about it.